Greetings YouTube, this is Fragments of Memory once again. And this video will be me asking the question, what is your paradigm? Well, the reason I pose that question is there is a quote that a minister of an Afrocentric church uses. His name's Ray Hagins, and one of the things he says is he draws a circle. And he says, this circle represents everything that I know, or everything that I think that I know, or everything that I've experienced, and so on and so forth. So, with that in mind, this is how I'm going to attempt to see things in my own personal life. In the sense that, one, we don't know everything. Two, we do not see the whole picture. So for those who say, oh, I tell it like it is, no, you don't. You never can tell it like it is. The best you can do, and this is something I say, I call it like I see it. I see this, this is the conclusion I come to, based on this, and you get the idea. Now, Edward R. Murrow once said, the great radio broadcaster back in the 1950s, he said that we were all prisoners of our own experiences. And this is something that I have to 100% agree with. That we are prisoners of our own experiences. Not that we cannot gain new experiences and create a new paradigm, but that when we judge things, we have a particular filter or lens that we process that thing through. I.e., if I had a bad experience with apples, when I get older, I'm going to filter every experience I have with apples through that first experience with apples until something comes along that's strong enough to make a new impression on me. And this is how I see our world. This is how I see how we as a society and we as people are. That we have certain viewpoints, perspectives based on experience, based on what we were taught, based on just what we think we know. So if I'm someone that goes to church a lot, I filter everything through my church beliefs or whatever the case might be. If I go to the mosque, if I go to the synagogue, if I go to the temple, if I go to the ashram, if I go to wherever, I can only process things through whatever beliefs or ideology or philosophy that I might come with, and other things as well. Like, I'll use a personal example. I've been stung by bees 3 times in my life. 3 times in my life I've been stung by a bee. So twice, my hand swelled up the side like this big. My right hand, I couldn't write and it itched. And my hand was like big, like Sherman Clump from the Nutty Professor big, So with that being said, every day, every time I see a bee flying around, I get nervous. And all that stuff happened to me way back in childhood, but those experiences of me being stung left a mark on me. So I am in my own personal circle. I can bravely and boldly admit I am a prisoner of my own personal experiences. Now, this does not mean that you can't go out and experience new things, but it means that based on what I've been through, like I'm 30 now, so based on what I've been through up until this age of 30 years old, that is what I have to go on. I truly am a collection, and we all are. We are a collection of ideas, beliefs, experiences, collectively, not just individually, not just isolated, but those isolated times, those multiples of times, all of that is formed and shaped and molded the man I am today, for better or for worse. So I realize that when I walk into a situation, all I have is my personal history and my personal baggage and my personal perspective to go on. Yes, new things can happen, but it's like prejudice. I prejudge a situation before I get into it. I prejudge a person. So no one is 100% free from prejudice. And sometimes that can save your life. Like if I know, I'm prejudiced to the fact that, snakes bite people. I might save myself from a snake bite. When the cobra's hood comes out like this, that means I need to run in the other direction because that cobra's got poison and venom all in its fangs. So prejudice sometimes can be good and prejudice sometimes can be bad. But realize that everyone comes from a certain viewpoint. a certain paradigm, and a certain perspective. This does not mean I argue for moral relativism. This does not mean that everything is relative. Whatever I come from could be wrong. My viewpoint could be wrong. But all I am saying here is that I operate from that. That I am a prisoner of my own personal experiences. And my beliefs and everything else. Because this is how I view the world. This is how I will treat the world. Like sitting down with my friends watching wrestling on TV is one thing. I can talk a certain way with them. But let's say a little child entered the room, I'll be careful with what I say. There's even things I don't say around women that I'll say around the guys. I won't say to a lady. That's just how I roll. Now, also, I'll act a different way around a friend who I have good history with, as opposed to a stranger who just stepped in. And so on and so forth. So, I'm just here to say that being a prisoner of your own experiences is not bad. The best we can do, though, is to transcend our past experiences by searching out new ones, or at least accepting new ones that come in, and not basing not basing current events on past events. So I think it calls for that paradigm shift that Stephen Covey talks about in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or Anthony Robbins in many of his self-help works, or even Dr. Wayne Dyer talking about a paradigm shift. They don't use that word paradigm shift, but there is a certain paradigm shift that does need to occur. And that isn't just some self-help malarkey. There's really some truth in that, though. Well, this is Fragments of Memory once again. Peace, everybody. Have a lovely day.